What's up guys, my name is Devin and welcome back to another episode of Footballrs. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the brand new Under Armour Sptlight Clone 4.0 football cleats. All right guys, here are the cleats right here. Again, these are the Under Armour Sptlight Clone 4.0 MC. We have them in a white colorway. You do get just a regular black and white Under Armour box. You have the big UA logo here, Under Armour on the side, and then a small logo here. But let's get into the cleats and check these out. Very excited to see what these are all about in today's video. And boom, here they are. So these right here are the cleats, and wow, not too bad. Nice little white colorway. Got some silver up here. Couple cool details we'll talk about in a bit, but here they are. These are one of the latest skill cleats from Under Armour. Again, these are the Sptlight Clone MC 4.0. It's a super long name, but let's get into this cleat and kind of talk about it. Let's start things off with the upper. So for the upper, they have what I believe is called like their clone material. It's kind of like this really interesting textured quilted-like material. It's not really thick or anything, but you do see it has kind of like these little raised structures all along the side. They also kind of help the upper kind of mold to your foot in a really nice way, so that's always good. Let's get the paper out of this thing, and wow, first things first, these are a lot lighter than I expected. I'm not really sure why, but we're gonna dive into it and check it out. But again, on this upper, super cool clone upper. Let's check out the lacing system. Nothing really crazy going on here, just into the regular eyelets per usual. You do have this little thing going up here, a little pull tab to help you get the shoe on. And then you do have this kind of interesting booty. It's like a thicker foam material. It's not super thick. It kind of reminds me of like a spat that's part of the cleat. I think we've seen this on their past model. Honestly, this whole cleat seems pretty familiar to me. But I can't wait to see what they've kind of changed and tweaked and how this cleat is a little bit better than the last model. So as you guys can see, this is a pretty low cut cleat with this little spat thing that we talked about. So it does have kind of a low key speed cleat feel. These are a skill football cleat. We'll talk more about that in the full review. Like I said, they do feel pretty lightweight. Look at this little clone detail on the back here. A lot of cool details throughout the cleat. You've got the silver Under Armour. You have kind of this cool fade. I don't know how well you guys can see it. It's silver into white. On this piece, we've got some of their symbols that they've been doing the last couple of years. Pretty cool, not really my thing, but not too bad. Get a nice little Under Armour logo here on the back, and then again, this little clone detail is very cool. Now we're gonna check out the traction plate. So this is the same traction plate they've had on many Sptlights now. These have not really held up. I don't know if they made any differences. Studs still aren't super strong. We've seen a lot of people have issues with these breaking off rather quickly. It's not the most, it does have some decent flex in it. The plate itself is just proven to not be super durable, so I do want to reach out to Under Armour and see if they've made any tweaks or if this is the exact same traction plate we've seen for the last couple of years. You do have a nice Under Armour thing on the bottom, and these are like a chromish silver. I'm curious to see if this will actually hold up. A lot of the time this cool finish just kind of flakes off over time, but it does look pretty cool. It's a good looking plate, not my favorite. We've talked about this plate a bunch, but I'll go through it again. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circle studs, and then these 2 inner blade studs that are gonna help with change of direction. And then in the back, you have 2 circles and then 2 more kind of rear blades there. There's no real kind of studs in the middle here, as you guys can see. A lot of cleats these days have some just to give some support, but nothing here on these. And just in case you guys want another look, this is the same traction plate from the cleat we reviewed last year, the year before. Pretty similar style, but yeah, that's the same plate. So next thing I want to take a look at is the overall padding. And one of the first things I noticed when I picked this cleat up is that this tongue is super thick. There's like a nice foam material kind of going through it, and it feels really, really soft. So I'm excited to see how this kind of feels on that part of your ankle foot when you lace them up real tight. And then you get a thinner foam for this booty here. So like I said, that's going to give you kind of a spat-like feel. What is this? So you do kind of have this like overlay over the mesh. I think that's the durability. Yeah, that's just for durability, so this part doesn't get all torn up. And then you do have a little bit of padding in the heel. Under Armour in the past has been notorious for kind of giving heel blisters because they didn't have enough padding, but these have a lot. So I think this is a step in the right direction for them. So I can't wait to try these and see how they do. But it looks like the cleat as a whole kind of has this inner booty, as you guys can hopefully see in there. This piece kind of wraps around your whole foot, and then of course you have the piece that goes around your ankle as well. But there's plenty of padding. It's a nice thin foam material, so it should feel pretty good on foot. We will try it on in a bit, but it feels pretty good. Then of course, one of my favorite things is always to check out the insole. And Under Armour makes some of the best insoles in football, and these ones are new. So this is a lot different than we've seen in the past. I'm not sure if this is still their 4D foam or not. We'll look at it a little bit later, but you've got holes for ventilation, I guess. Cool little Under Armour logo kind of hidden in there. Sptlight, more ventilation, and then a little heel design as well. And then the foam itself is super soft. You guys can kind of see the thickness there. It feels really good. So I think these cleats are actually gonna be pretty comfortable based on, you know, how thick and cushiony this is, and then how much padding they have on the tongue, and then the overall booty throughout the cleat. plus that clone upper. Then just in case you guys want a peek of what's under the insole, here you go. Just something I'm noticing right now is that this upper is actually pretty thin. Like, I have my full hand in the cleat right now, and there's not a ton of material separating, you know, my fingers. It's just like a thin clone material that is proven to be pretty good in the past. So I think these are going to be really comfortable. I know I already said that, but I'm very excited to try these on because they do seem pretty solid all the way around. I'm excited to see, you know, how they perform, but I don't know if they will perform super well with this traction plate. I think this traction plate needs an update, but hey, it's not fair for me to make judgments before the official review. So let's get into the try on and then eventually the full review of the Under Armour Sptlight Clone 4.0 MC.
Today's video is brought to you by ZoomBang. Now, if you're familiar with our channel, you've already seen ZoomBang on a bunch of our videos and some of the guys we've featured, like Lamar Jackson, the two-time MVP. Now, aside from the Ravens, ZoomBang is used by a ton of guys across the league, including Jason Kelce and Najee Harris. It's essentially state-of-the-art compression gear like girdles and compression shirts that you wear underneath your pads. This added protection allows players to be fearless out on that battlefield. ZoomBang's viscoelastic polymer is soft to the touch and conforms to the exact shape of whatever it's supporting at rest. Upon impact, ZoomBang's molecules stiffen up and lock together to disperse the energy and provide maximum protection. After impact, ZoomBang transforms back to its original cushioning, supportive state. Independent testing has shown that these poly shields dissipate 90% of impact, reducing blunt force that's transferred to the body, which their competitor can only say they do 40% of. With hundreds of collisions in a single game and thousands during the course of a season, there are no shortcuts when it comes to safety. If some of the best football players in the world choose to wear ZoomBang, why shouldn't you? If you want to learn more about ZoomBang, you can check out our full video on them or just check them out in the description down below. Again, thanks ZoomBang. Back to the video.
All right, guys, it's time to hop into the actual review part of this video. We're gonna look at a couple different things: the comfort, the fit, the traction, the styles, the price, what position these are for, and then just kind of an overall look at these cleats. We're gonna kick things off by talking about the comfort of the Under Armour Sptlight Clone 4.0s. Just like with the 3.0s I reviewed last year, I absolutely love how these feel. For starters, these have a really nice internal booty construction made from a really nice foam material. Now, the booty doesn't surround your entire foot, but it does a really good job kind of securing your foot in a really comfortable way. Also, this material they use does a really nice job kind of conforming to your foot and giving you like a real customized fit. Now, the higher part of the booty, which is this part right here, is made from a nice, thick, supportive foam material that kind of goes around your lower ankle. And then the tongue part of the booty has been updated from last year with thicker foam that kind of runs throughout the whole thing. It feels really good, so when you lace these up nice and tight, it kind of reduces some of that pressure you feel on the top of your foot. Inside the cleat, they have added a little bit more heel padding that feels really good, but it's still not enough in my opinion. Throughout my testing process towards the end, I started to feel a little bit of discomfort kind of on the inside of my heel right here, so that's just something to keep an eye out for. These are still much better than some of the previous Sptlight models, so this is a ginormous step in the right direction for Under Armour football. Now, the actual upper on these is pretty sweet. It's that same clone material they used last year and has a really nice quilt-like feel to it. It feels super thin in the toe box, but just like that foam booty, it does a really nice job kind of morphing to your foot and giving you a truly customized locked-in fit. Now, I'm not really sure if this fits into the comfort category, but that's where I'm gonna put it. I wish these things had a rear heel loop. As you guys can see, there's no heel loop on here, which kind of makes them a pain to get on. They do have one in the front, but I found myself kind of grabbing this part here and trying to jam my foot in that way, and it was just kind of tricky. Lastly, these have an updated Under Armour Super Foam insole material, which is thick and feels super great underfoot. Under Armour always does a really good job with insoles. They always feel super comfortable. Overall, the combination of the foam booty and that upper clone material makes these feel super duper comfortable, and if they just improve the heel padding just a little bit more, I think these would be pretty much perfect comfort-wise. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the fit and support. Fit on these is great and definitely one of the best fitting cleats from Under Armour, and they do seem to run true to size. The foam booty we talked about earlier does a great job kind of hugging your foot, giving you a nice, secure, locked-in fit all around. And then the ankle cuff piece we talked about earlier gives you a little bit more support, much more support than you find on any other skill cleat on the market. Basically, the best way to describe how this feels, it gives you a spat-like feeling, but without the super big bulk of like a tape job. It also really helps lock down that ankle and gives you some really nice lightweight support, which you don't typically get in a true speed football cleat. Also, just like the 3.0s, these have amazing heel lockdown. I'm not sure if it's the padding in the heel or the cuff itself, but something about these cleats really locks them onto your foot and they just truly feel like they become a part of you. Overall, with these, you get a really custom locked-in fit with more support than any other skill football cleat on the market. The next thing we're going to talk about is the traction. Now, these have the exact same traction plate as the Sptlights, and they've been using this traction plate for a long time now. In the front, you get 7 circle studs and 2 blade studs, and then in the rear, you get 2 circle studs and then 2 more blades that kind of anchor it down in the back. The blade studs on the inside are great for helping you change direction, and then some of those circle studs give you some pretty solid grip on the turf. And then these don't have any of those interior studs that you kind of see on some other cleats. There's just really nothing going on there in the middle. The plate itself is super snappy and does a pretty decent job kind of springing you into that next step. But with that stiffness, it does start to hurt hurt your feet after a little while. It's something that sometimes people are able to break in, but a lot of time it's just pretty uncomfortable if you wear it for more than an hour or so. Honestly, I've just had enough of this traction plate at this point, and I really hope they innovate soon. I feel like they've had this plate on the Sptlight since the beginning of the Sptlight, so I really hope that they change it soon. Also, this traction plate is notorious for breaking studs quicker than any other traction plate on the market, so if you guys are thinking about buying these cleats, be aware that these studs are very prone to breaking. I'm not sure what Under Armour did wrong there, but I've heard so many horror stories about these breaking like early in training camp or just early in the summer, so definitely keep that in mind as well. Overall, it's definitely not my favorite traction plate on the market because it has circle studs, which I'm not huge on, and then of course the durability thing as well. But when it works, when it's all in one piece at least, it's a pretty solid traction plate. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the style. Honestly, these look pretty good to me. This is a super clean silhouette and it's definitely very speed oriented. You can kind of tell by the design. And then they do have some cool details like the color fade, the details on the tongue, and even that little clone bit on the heel. And then this clone quilt-like upper gives these a nice, real premium feel and look. I'm overall just a big fan of the silhouette. And as I'm filming this, they have 12 team-oriented colors, so if you guys don't like the white, there's 11 others you can choose from. I'm sure you'll be able to find something that fits your team colors. And Under Armour also usually implements some limited edition models, so keep an eye out for those as well. I think there's a USA themed pair on their website right now for 140 bucks. Overall, it's one of the better looking cleats on the market, and I think it looks a lot better on foot than it does in pictures and in this video right here. The next thing we're gonna talk about is what position these cleats are gonna be best for. For years now, the Sptlight has been a speed football cleat, and these are no different. These are gonna be great for quarterbacks, wide receiver, running backs, and defensive backs. They're definitely a lighter football cleat, but they also offer a little bit of ankle support like we talked about earlier, which you don't really get with a speed cleat. Honestly, if you're a linebacker, a tight end, you want something a little bit lighter than a big skill football cleat, these might be a perfect option for you because they're super light, and again, you get a little bit of ankle support, which a lot of linebackers and tight ends like to have. Overall, these are a great option for skill players, especially if you guys are fans of like tape jobs, because you do get kind of that tape-like spat feel with this collar. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the price. These retail for 130 bucks, which seems to be kind of the going rate for a skill pair of football cleats. And then if you guys want the limited edition colorways, they're gonna come in at 140, so 10 bucks more for some cool colorways if you guys want. For 130 bucks, I'd say it's a pretty solid value overall, but if you do run into the problems with some of these studs breaking off, you're gonna lose a lot of money on that. So definitely some better options out there, but for 130, not bad. Overall, every single year, Under Armour has been making small tweaks to their Sptlight line, and this is easily their best version yet. They've made a lot of key changes, and these things feel pretty good. They're very comfortable, they fit very well, and they feel really nice on your foot. That lower foam booty gives you a nice, comfortable, locked-in fit, and then this nice spat-like collar here feels really good if you guys want some lightweight support. They also look pretty good, and they come in a whole bunch of colorways, so that's a plus. Under Armour football is finally back to making quality football cleats, but this traction plate does need to be tweaked or updated, so Under Armour, if you're watching this, please make a change, but overall, good pair of football cleats. There you guys have it. There's the full unboxing review on the Under Armour Sptlight Clone 4.0s. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, like the video, comment what you guys want to see us review next, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My name is Devin, and thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of Footballrs.